Like, it's sort of an end of times haircut.
Nothing says when Nikki Payne has shaved her head, it's time to give up.
But when I have to run away from the zombies, I don't want to be fussing with my hair, Will. I can't right now. The curling iron hasn't heated up yet.
Yeah.
So the zombies are going to have to wait.
Hey everybody, welcome to Doing It with Will Conlon. I'm Will Conlon. Thanks for tuning in. It's been a while since I've done one of these episodes, and there's no time like the present. I just figured, the main reason I always did this podcast was to talk with artists about their motivations and their inspirations and the reason why they do what they do, no matter what situation they're in or what level of their career they're in. And I thought, well, the playing field's kind of leveled right now, so I'm even more interested than ever to talk with other artists of all vocations about why they're continuing to create. Is there still what kind of difficulties are they having? Is there still a hesitation maybe, or maybe they're just not inspired? I know a lot of writers I speak to are having trouble with writer's block and things like that, and others are just kind of, really making good use of the time. I don't think it's good to beat yourself up either way, however you're feeling. I think you just do what you do to get through day to day and make sure you got good mental and emotional health. But from an artist's standpoint, I personally feel the need to create something every day if I can. And I really wanted to have some of these discussions and kind of one of the interesting sort of benefits to this whole situation is when I was doing the podcast before, there was a lot of people, because I was doing it face to face. Every episode was done face to face in the presence of the guest, and so there was a lot of people I wanted to talk to that I couldn't because they lived far away. It was just sort of logistics and things like that. So because every episode is done through Zoom or through the internet, it's kind of open literally a world of possibilities. I can talk to anyone in the world. So I'm going to be talking with Nikki Payne today, who lives out eastern Canada. And she was actually the number one guest I always wanted to have on. I've known her for a long, long time. She's extremely funny. Anyone who knows her, seen her stand up, knows this already. And so I really wanted to talk to her, so I was looking forward to that. So that's coming up in a second. Just to give you a little bit, there is some changes to this podcast. The main one is that there's an audio version and a video version. So whatever you want to see, if you actually want to see this mug and my guest, then you have the option of seeing that. Or if you just want to listen to it without looking at this, whatever I got going on here, this sort of quarantining sort of thing, then you don't have to look at it. It's going to be the same information, except the video one is going to be longer. I know today's episode is about 10 minutes longer, the video, because when Nikki and I were speaking, there's a lot of things like I see stuff at her house, or we're talking about, whatever stuff that we're seeing. And I decided to edit that out of the audio version, since it's not really fair that people that are listening, what the hell are we talking about? So there is an advantage to watching the video version, because you get to see more, and there's more laughs. There's a lot more jokes. And so check that out if you want, or listen to the audio one, whichever you like. I do ask that you share the podcast if you like it. It's it's a labor of love for me, but also promotes the guests that I have on, which is the most important part. So if you could share it, that would be great. But check out the audio and video version. They're both, links for both are at doingitpod.ca. Obviously, the audio one is on iTunes. But so anyway, Nikki Payne. If you've seen her, you love her. I'm sure you do. How could you not? She's a sweetheart of a human being. She's extraordinarily funny. I'm very, very lucky to know her, and I'm very lucky to talk to her right now. So go ahead and enjoy this chat with Nikki Payne.
Hello?
Hey, I can hear you. I hear your voice. Your voice is going into my ears.
Oh, I can hear you and I can see you.
I can hear and see you. And
It's magic.
I can almost touch you.
No, it's like you're in my living room.
Yeah, it's like you're in my kitchen. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. Does it feel
Good.
Does it feel
Trapped in your house, but
Yeah.
good.
Well, it feels weird when people ask you how you're doing to say good, to say anything other than, man, this is so hard. I can't do this.
Lonely. I'm lonely.
Right?
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I shaved my head.
I see that. When did you do that
This is
for
what
the
happens when you're alone in the country for too long. Believe it or not, I did it like maybe 2 weeks ago. Like, I can't believe how fast it's grown back.
Really?
Well, not grown back. It was long. It was actually to my shoulders when I cut it, but like it's actually like I have hair again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks good.
I did it. My sister-in-law did it,
Okay.
and I was like, fuck. I've always wanted to just start from fucking scratch, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, well, no time like the present. It's not like I'm going anywhere.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm going to be on TV or anything anytime soon.
I'm not going to be doing a video podcast or anything. No.
Well, there is that. But you know what? I can handle that.
I think it's great. So was it strictly that? Like, just like, what can I do? Oh, I'll shave my head.
Well, and it was getting really long.
Okay.
Well, long for me, right? Like here. And so I was like, getting up every day and fucking like, I was like, I'll braid it or I'll something, right? And I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? Nobody's here. Nobody's coming over. And I'm putting all this work into...
So it's like a fuck it cut. That's...
So it was like, fuck it. It one less thing to deal with. You know.
Yeah, no, I think it looks good.
Do I plan on having it gray and shaved forever? No, but
no, you kind of remind me of Sigourney Weaver.
It seems kind of right? It's like, I got kind of a Mad Max thing going on here.
Yeah, I was gonna say Sigourney Weaver in Aliens 3.
Yeah, like it's sort of an end of times haircut.
Nothing says when Nikki Payne has shaved her head. It's time to give up.
But when I have to run away from the zombies, I don't want to be fussing with my hair, Will.
Which, that's always been my criticism of Walking Dead. They fuss with their hair too much.
I can't right now. The curling iron hasn't heated up yet.
Yeah.
Or the zombies are going to have to wait.
That's... that'd be a great film right there. There's a zombie film that hasn't been done yet.
The lady just dies because she was waiting to get her hair curled.
She doesn't want to go out until she looks good.
Yeah, no. My standards are not going to go down because there's a zombie.
Yeah. What else have you been doing to get yourself through the... It's been what, about I think it's a month and a half, 2 months we're going on now?
60 days. I'm not even lying. Hang on. Look. I'm not even fucking lying, dude.
Wait.
Oh, yeah, twat face. This guy, 3 months ago, a guy said that I bumped into him, but I really know that I did not bump into him. And he's trying to find, like, a scratch on his truck, right? So I took a whole bunch of... And he wanted me to give him we were in a part of town where there's a lot of like people on drugs and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Where it happened, and he wanted me to give him $250 right there
Oh,
for this
God.
non-scratch that I did not bump into his fucking truck at all, right?
Wow. Wow.
So I took a bunch of pictures of his where he thought that I hit him, right? And I even went to like my insurance office like right then and there, and even the secretary was looking at it going, your car's not even that fucking high. Like, at least you could have done is point out, like, you know, a shitty mark that was actually lined up with your car.
Yeah.
And, so anyway, in New Brunswick, people have like 90 days to put in. Like, I gave them my insurance info. I was like, look, if you really think I hit you, here's my insurance. You can go through them, but I'm not getting $250 out.
Yeah.
Give you like here in Skid Row, like, and so and he tried to like intimidate me, but
Really?
I'm not as intimidated. I'm not. I don't go for that.
Yeah, I've never known you to be someone who's easily intimidated or skittish.
That
You
didn't go over well for him. And,
no.
Because that's why I took a fucking picture of him when he started
Oh, did you?
Like, don't become a bully when somebody's taking pictures. Like, so,
Wow.
anyway.
So tomorrow. Wait, was that today or tomorrow?
Today.
Is the 90 days today?
Today I can officially remove. I'll remove the photos off my phone.
Oh, good.
The ones that I put on my computer, but.
Or just release them to the public today.
Them. Now I do not need to worry about twat face.
Yeah.
That's what I refer to him as on my calendar. Twat face.
Oh, I was hoping that
so
was really his
name.
name.
90 days since he said I bumped into his truck, and 60 days since we've been in quarantine.
He doesn't need the money now. He's getting the CERB, so he's not thinking about it. Yeah.
I'm sure he's getting a CERB.
The government bumped into my truck, so they're giving me $2,000 a month.
You're doing a very good impression of him.
Am I? I just assume all guys like this, they sound like that. You know.
Ran into my truck, and it was a shitty truck to begin with.
Yeah. And it was higher than yours, so we know
where
that.
he was pointing, like I have a Mitsubishi RVR, right?
Yeah.
And where he was pointing, the scratch on his truck was like, you know, his truck was jacked up, and he said that I hit the top of his wheel well. My car, no part of my car fucking touches that. Like, but anyway.
They'll try anything.
Yeah. And he said that I need $250 just to replace like the fucking plastic thing that goes over the top of the wheel.
You got to replace the duct tape.
It's like $250 to replace that. Like,
yeah. Turns out he's in insurance, so he knows, right? I
read
a book.
Somehow my car managed to do that.
Yeah.
It was a buff job at the best, right? It was not $250 to replace the entire fucking. It was like, here, fixed it.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't.
Tell me you did something like that. Just kind of a spit and polish. Done. Wax on, wax off.
I didn't. I didn't want to get into a fist fight with a junkie in downtown Michigan. So
isn't that the municipal motto, I think? Don't get in a fight with the junkie.
Welcome to Dunkin'. Try not to get into a fist fight with a junkie.
Yeah. It's so good to see you because it's been probably it's more than a decade, I think, since I've actually seen you in person.
Jeez, like, I mean, I would see you once in a while because you would hang out with Mark Walker, and he lived in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I haven't lived in Toronto since 2012.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So So yeah, getting close to a decade. Darn
What
close.
what
Darn.
made you what made you leave other than junkies around here?
Uh, you know what? Toronto junkies are nicer.
Are they? They're more,
Just say it.
and that should be the Toronto motto.
They were, they were better raised.
Yeah.
Um, but well, I mean, there was a lot of things all at once, sort of. I I always wanted a little house by the ocean,
Hmm.
like, cause I grew up in the Maritimes, but I grew up like in a trailer park just outside Halifax, like basically, like a suburb of Halifax. I didn't have the like postcard grow up by the beach,
Mm-hmm.
that kind
Hmm.
of thing. So I always wanted a little house by the ocean. And living in Toronto, I mean, you see the real estate. Like, I was
Hmm.
like, the best I was going to be able to afford was a teeny tiny, you know, studio condo in, Liberty Village, maybe. And don't get me wrong, they're super cute, and that whole area is like dog friendly. And have this little guy right here. Julio
No, yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
He's
he's like,
adorable.
Mom, stop it. I hate it when you do this. Ugh.
He won't look into the camera. He won't.
No, he won't. He refuses.
My dog's the same way. She will not look at the camera if she
Yeah,
can
I
avoid it.
don't know what
Yeah.
that's about, but
They
it
know it steals your
does.
soul. They know it
Yeah,
does.
it
Yeah.
does. They know it. But but I was just like, that's the most that I'm gonna be able to afford to own, and I'll be paying it off for like ever.
Mhm.
And comedy was becoming such that I didn't really need to be in Toronto. Like, I don't need to be, I can be here and talk to you right now. Like,
Yeah.
like there was no real, need to be right in Toronto anymore. Even for roles, like as far as acting, I'm pretty specific. People either want me or they don't. They've got it, like
Yeah.
they've got me in their mind, and they'll track me down.
Right. Right.
you
Yeah.
know, like, yeah, I'm not going out for every girl, in the Canadian Tire commercial ad.
Yeah.
Like, that's so, in a way, it was a benefit for being able to, like, that then it wasn't keeping me in the city, for work reasons.
Yeah.
And so I started looking at houses in Nova Scotia because that's where I grew up. Um, but I needed it to be near a beach. Well, I didn't need it. I wanted it to be near a
Yeah.
beach.
Yeah.
But it also needed to be near an airport. Not
Okay.
anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
You had a good 8 years of that.
I wasn't adding COVID-19 into the whole plan 8 years ago. And so I and it's not easy to find those two things and be in an artist, budget at the same time.
Right.
So I was struggling looking, but my brother lives here. My brother just lives 5 minutes up the road from me, and
Mhm.
he was like, "Well, why don't you look in New Brunswick? Like, we have airports and beaches." And so I was looking, and lo and behold, I found this little place.
It's a nice little, from what I see of it. I mean, you got the fireplace back
It
there.
definitely got a gingerbread
Yeah.
house kind of feel to it, for
Yeah.
sure. It's only small, but it's cute as a button.
Yeah.
And yeah, and the beach is a 5 minute walk that way.
That sounds amazing. You know,
Yeah,
I,
oh, great.
I'm having the same urge. Like, honestly, like I've been in Toronto in the apartment I'm in I'm going into my 5th year in August. And
Okay.
already I'm
In the
feeling
same
like,
apartment.
yeah, in the same
Yeah.
apartment, in Mark's old apartment, Mark Walker's
Oh,
old apartment.
okay, great.
Yeah, when he
Oh,
picked up and
fantastic.
moved back to Nova Scotia, he called me up and said, I need to get the hell out of here. Do you want the apartment? And I said, sure. I was living in Burlington, and I was doing the back and forth for auditions
Right.
daily. And I
Mhm.
realized I'm spending like an extra $300 to $400 a month on gas going back and forth to Toronto for auditions a month. So I thought if I take that with what I'm paying for rent now, I can afford that place easily.
Right.
And so that's why I was like, oh, yeah, I'll definitely do that. And I've never really had the Toronto experience, like living in the city, like for a prolonged period of time. And I'm glad I did it. But already I'm feeling like, and I don't know if it's because maybe, like, was it for you? Was it the city getting to you? Was it the career? Was it a whole bunch of everything? Or was it, you know?
Toronto will always be like a little bit of home to me. Like, there's people I love dearly in Toronto. I just never really saw myself living there forever.
Right.
I don't really see myself as a city person.
Yeah.
I like, I'm pretty introverted, and I like having nature around me.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so I mean, there was that. There were times where it was getting to me for sure. And I'm pretty open about like my mental health stuff. I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety, and that was getting worse as I got older. I found, like, which apparently a lot of people, apparently, like, there's studies done that, it can get, you might be able to ignore it when you're younger. As you get older,
and then as the world penetrates you, you get like, oh no.
Exactly. And so, that was part of it too, of like, I just need a little bit quieter, kind of a little less stressy. Because sometimes Toronto can be really stressy, any city can be, right? Like, and, when you're all squished together on a streetcar and you're having an anxiety attack, it feels awful.
Well, and not to mention, when you add in the business, the industry that you chose as your profession, I mean, that right there adds a level of stress that it's really hard to kind of comprehend unless you actually are in the industry. And I hate to say that. I hate to be one of those, you don't get it if you're not doing it. But there is a component of that. I mean,
no,
because
there is, absolutely. I mean,
really
there's some ways in which it's really awesome and, and less stressful than some work. But then in its weird little ways that you wouldn't expect it to be stressful too.
Yeah.
Like there's this stuff like, the uncertainty of work and all that kind of stuff, well, you're aware of that going into it, right? It for me, it's other weird little stressors that like, that I didn't even anticipate. Like, how lonely the road when you're a stand-up comedian is. Just incredibly lonely. And how you don't eat healthy on the road. Like, like I'm not somebody like, it's like, I didn't do heavy drugs. I didn't, I didn't have, indiscriminate sex on the road or booze or anything like that. But I eat fucking terrible on the road. Like, I just, because there's no way around it. Even when you try to eat healthy on the road, it's like, sometimes when you're in a travel lodge on the side of the highway, it's,
yeah.
Tim Hortons is the healthiest option you have, right? Like, and, and then on top of it, lonely, so you eat because you're lonely and bored and watching TV and just little things like that I didn't even anticipate would be stressors.
Yeah. So, how old were you when you moved here the first time though? Because coming from Nova Scotia,
I think I was 22, something like that.
22, and was it the intention of like I'm gonna go? Were you already on the stand-up circuit? I don't actually know that part of your life. No.
Okay. There were no like there's a kind of a stand-up circuit in Halifax now, but back then, not at all. There was nothing. So my first amateur night was in Montreal. I had to take a bus to Montreal and stay in a hotel.
From Toronto?
No, from Halifax.
Oh,
I grew up in Halifax.
holy
Yeah.
jeez.
So, my first amateur night, like I had to take like a, Greyhound bus to Montreal and do it and spend the night in a hotel. And then I got on the bus again and went to Toronto. And that's when I took, like, at the time, Humber would do a summer program, like 2 weeks in the summer. And
Yeah.
I did that. And that was the beginning of it.
Wow.
And I went up just for that. And then Mark Breslin was like, I think you're funny. I think you have, a future in this. And so I was like, cool. Took the bus, like you do when you're in your
No,
20s and don't know any better,
It
right?
just no, it just
And
sounded
I
like
took
someone who's
the
been on a bus for hours.
and I
Cool.
took yeah, sure. I just got to get back on this bus, head back home, finish my summer job, and then take the money that I was going to go back to university with, and get on the bus again
Yeah.
with a bunch of my belongings, and I moved to Toronto.
So, if I can back up for 1 second, to make the decision though to take a bus from Halifax all the way to Montreal. First of all, how long of a trip is that?
That's I think it's 11 hours on
Oh my
on the
God.
bus.
Okay, and you knew that before you did it.
Yeah, but you're talking the 44-year-old Nikki now, who wouldn't take a fucking bus into Moncton,
Yeah.
right?
But that's what I'm
but
saying though. Is like
20-something Nikki
Yeah.
was like, that's an adventure. That's
yeah.
exciting, right?
So was the appeal though? Like what made you go? Okay, I gotta try this though. I've gotta do this because it's still even for a 22-year-old who's
Yeah.
thinks they got the world by the tail. That's quite a distance to travel just to do 5 minutes on an amateur night.
And
And
I
to-
am going to answer that, but I'm going to run and get my tea.
Okay, do that.
I have a tea. I have tea on the stove. I will grab my tea and then I will come and answer that. Okay.
I will enjoy a beverage. Yes.
All right. You can edit this, right?
Yeah, but I probably won't.
Listeners, this would be a good time for them to go grab a cup of tea too.
Yeah. And to shuffle back like that Tim Conway character from Carol Burnett. Hey, cheers. Cheers to you.
Cheers. I got my no drama llama.
Ah, sweet. I imagine your place is just full of interesting little things with interesting little mottos and sayings on it like that.
Yeah, little knickknacks. Here, let me I have a painting. It's a Christmas painting. I haven't taken it down. But I painted. Oh, hang on. Oh, fuck. Well, I can't line it up.
That's
Anyway,
cute.
I painted that myself. And it's
You
got
painted
the,
that?
it's got the characters from the claymation,
Yeah, Rudolph.
the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Oh, yeah. That's the classic.
And I haven't taken it down yet because I got it framed at Christmas. And
Okay.
it's really expensive to get a big painting framed. So I was like, that fucker's staying up for a while.
Can I tell you this might make you feel better? And I'm not kidding at all. In fact, I'm talking to you on my Mac, my iMac,
Mhm.
big monitor thing. So I don't know if I can move the camera. But when this whole thing hit, you know me, I'm a Christmas freak. You know that, right? So my decorations, they stay up till about mid-February every year because I go nuts. And when this thing started picking up steam at the end of February and I started to hear, oh, we might be in a lockdown, I was like, no, I'm leaving them up. All my decorations, the garland, the lights, everything
Oh my
is still
God,
up.
all of it's still out.
Everything is still up. And
Holy
I
shit.
can't really turn the camera. But that was why, like what you're looking at right now, these curtains, is the
Right.
only thing there is no Christmas on.
Oh my God.
To the direct, here, just slightly, I don't know if I can move it.
Oh,
I can't-
yeah, no, I already
you
see
sort of
the
see?
puff. I already see the red and the puff. Yeah.
Yeah, right here. There's icicles. There's a Grinch village right up here.
Oh my God.
This is all
Well,
cool.
to be perfectly honest, I just took my Christmas village down.
Oh, did you?
It's on the. Do you see the bookshelf over the wood stove there?
Yep. Yep.
That was all filled with a Christmas village.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I
That's
just took
nice.
that down like on the weekend.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
so I'm with you. I'm with you on the Christmas
Well, my
stuff.
my thought was, you know, it makes me feel good. And I thought if we're going to be stuck in a time that's going to be stressful and a little bit difficult to get through, why not make it as easy as you can on yourself, whatever you
Exactly.
got to do? And if mine is some Christmas decorations and some, some
You're not
cola.
hurting anybody,
I,
so
yeah, I don't think I am. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's
your
there's uh,
dog, your
atheists and
dog's
Jewish
probably
people who
very. But they're not in your apartment.
no,
There's nobody that doesn't celebrate Christmas is in your apartment, as
right.
far as you know. I mean, we don't know, your dog's
I
ideas,
Yeah, and I feel bad. I feel like I'm pushing it on her a little bit, but
but I think you're okay. I think
yeah.
you're all right.
Ah, good. So you promised to answer my question. What makes a 22-year-old Nikki Payne say, I've got to try this"? What was the original appeal and the thing that built you up to that? Okay, let's hop the bus. Let's go.
I promised myself a long time ago, like around high school ish, that I wanted to have an interesting life.
Hmm.
Like everybody else had these big plans of like, I'm gonna become a lawyer, I'm gonna do this. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I knew that I wanted to have an interesting life. So when when I went and did this and tried this and and got, some positive feedback, I was like, well, certainly can't say this isn't interesting.
Yeah.
So I got on the bus and I went. And I was like, well, I'll give it 6 months. We'll see where we're at in 6 months. And in 6 months, I was like, okay, well, we'll give it another 6 months. And it was like, okay, I'll give it another year, another 5 years. And then before you know it, I was, you know,
You
doing
were
it.
in. You were
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, you were in. When you had mentioned too about being diagnosed with depression and anxiety, was that before you went and did this?
No, I was diagnosed actually like I not until I moved here. Like not I wasn't officially diagnosed until I moved here.
Oh,
Uh,
wow. Okay.
I knew something wasn't right, and I knew something wasn't right for like decades, right?
Hmm.
I knew that my moods would change really fast, and sometimes they were really, uh, really intense, and that I would feel, super worked up and worried and stressed, even when there was no reason to feel worked up, worried. Like I always kind of felt like I was late for a test that I didn't prepare for
Hmm.
all the time. Like, and so I knew something wasn't right, but you know, getting mental health help isn't easy now, much less 15, 20 years ago. Right.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I remember once going into a hospital and a doctor giving me Paxil and sending me home. And that was it. Nobody talked to me about anything. Nobody diagnosed me with anything. Nobody, just this emergency room doctor gave me Paxil and sent me home. And turns out now we know that you don't give Paxil to somebody in their 20s because it creates suicidal ideation. So I took these pills and I was like, well, now it's worse. Now I'm thinking things that I wasn't fucking thinking before. But
Oh God.
and so I
Wow.
stopped taking them, and then I was afraid of antidepressants because I was like, they make me worse. And so, it wasn't until I had the money and the maturity to go and talk to a psychologist myself, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I started chatting with this lady, on a regular, once a week, once every 2 weeks, whatever. And then she was like, I think, you might have some issues with depression and anxiety. Do you mind if maybe I ask you some of these like diagnostic questions and we'll get to the bottom of it? And I was like, yes, that's what I'm paying you for. Let's get to the bottom of this
I
shit.
was so hoping you said cool.
Yeah, cool.
Cool.
Yeah. And and luckily I found a good family doctor here too that was willing to work like as a team with my psychologist. It's not a psychiatrist. Psychologist
Mhm.
can't they can't prescribe meds, right?
Right. Right. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So
That's the difference. Yeah. That's right. Okay.
that's sort of the difference there. And so yeah,
But do you prefer that? I mean, some people, I know me personally, I don't want to take meds if I've
I
got
didn't want to
problems
at all.
upstairs.
I
Yeah.
didn't want to at all because of my experience with Paxil.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she was like, she goes, I'm not going to pressure you. I was under no pressure at all to take anything.
Yeah.
And she was very understanding of, she goes, you have a perfectly rational reason to not, to be against taking any kind of meds. She goes, you've had a horrible experience. And so we kept going. As I was like I said, as I was getting older, it was getting harder to manage on my own, and I really felt like I was sinking quickly.
Hmm.
And so we decided to give meds a try, and they have worked very well for me.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to
I
hear
would
that.
never pressure somebody else. I think it's very individual. What works for me might not work for the next person.
Hmm.
Uh, you know, uh, but I feel like for me, it helped me get my head above water so that I could do the things that I needed to do to maintain my mental health. Like, because I don't think it's one particular thing. I think some people think, oh, I'll take this pill and boom, I'll be okay. That might work for some people. That's not how it works for me. The pill is one part of of a whole slew of things that I do to feel better. I have to exercise on a regular, even though I fucking hate exercising. And I have to eat right. I have to drink a lot of water. Like
Hmm.
the first thing I ask myself when I'm, kind of slipping into something, it's like, have I been drinking water lately? I know that's a silly thing to ask, but it really does. It's important, and I meditate, and I use all the particularly for my anxiety. I use all the tools my psychologist gave me, um, and and a lot of those are just they're just little exercises to do
Yeah.
that
Mental
kind of help me.
exercises and things.
And
Yeah.
it's all those things happening at once, and the medication is just one part of it.
Yeah.
Like if I just took a pill and then did none of those other things, I don't think I'd be any better.
It's great that you recognize that too, because I think that's what a lot of people want. They literally, I mean, you even look at to compare it to the crisis we're in right now, they literally, that's, everyone's like, once there's a vaccine, everything's going to go back to the way it was, everything's going to be fine. And even the doctors have said
Right.
that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And I think people are so used to a quick fix and a quick turnaround for a simple thing, and it's like
Yeah.
nothing in life ever works that way, ever. And as soon as you get it in your head that it's that simple, you've just opened yourself to a world of hurt. And as you said, even all the components they got to work together. It's not
They've
a,
all got to work together. If
yeah,
one of them's missing, then, I'm a little off, right?
yeah,
Like, and so, it's, and some days I am just a little off, and that's just life, right?
yeah.
Like,
Well, that's you're a comic, so you're always
yeah,
going to be a little off,
a
right?
little off, right? But it's just, I was starting to feel really miserable and really like finding it harder and harder to manage it all on my own. And I'm so grateful that I had the financial means, because that's the thing, is that even here in New Brunswick, to go see somebody, a therapist, it cost me something like $160 for an hour.
Mm-hmm.
It's not cheap,
No,
and it's not covered,
right.
so 20 something year old me wouldn't have been able to afford that,
Yeah, yeah.
even if I had the wherewithal at that point to realize that that's what I needed. I wouldn't have been able to afford it. Like,
Yeah. And also the foresight of knowing I need to get some help.
yeah,
Cuz that's I
that
mean,
comes with age too,
I
right?
think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I years in about 4 or 5 years ago, maybe it's a little bit longer now, when I started having anxiety attacks, panic attacks, and
Hmm.
I talked to my family doctor and he hooked me up with this an amazing he was actually a stress management counselor. So
Okay.
that's his thing. But I just called
Yeah.
him a therapist, right?
Yeah.
And that was one of the first things he said to me because I kept talking about how far gone am I? That was the big question I had
Yeah.
for him. How far gone am I, right? And he said, "You're not that far gone if you're seeking help."
Yeah.
And he said the people that are really, really, far, far gone, as you put it, he said, are
Right.
the ones that either think they don't need help or they're beyond help. Then there's just
Right.
they've lost all hope. And he
Yeah.
said, but someone like you who is having these issues emotionally and mentally and can say this isn't right and I should fix this.
Right.
That demonstrates a lot of the way he expressed to me, a lot of courage and all that. And I would say I wouldn't be surprised if you were told the same thing. That displays a lot of insight and courage to say, yeah, I'm not right and I need to
Yeah.
fix it. I don't want to stay this way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but when you got out here and you started doing stand up and you already knew at that point, even when you started, it sounds like you already had an idea that there was issues underlying, right?
Mm,
Or were you sort of not admitting
probably
it to
not.
yourself?
I
Yeah.
would I would say like maybe a slight hint
Hmm.
that something wasn't quite. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm trying to. I'm getting old, Will. I'm trying to think back to then, and
You are not old. Come on. We're like the same age and it hurts me when you
it
tell me
hurts
you're
you.
old.
I'm sorry, we're
Don't
not
do this
old.
to me.
We're not old. We're
No.
children. Um.
That
Uh.
is true.
Yeah. Yes and no. I mean, yeah. I mean, did I have? Yes, I had some idea. Did I have the kind of wherewithal, maturity, insight that I have now? No,
Hmm.
not at all.
Sure.
Yeah.
But when you were younger, because I remember, and you correct me, I remember hearing about you, and you kind of skyrocketed fairly fast. You
It went
you
pretty
started,
fast.
yeah,
It
you
did.
did really well, really fast. I mean, like I was doing stand up as well, and it was always interesting because you'd always hear about the ones that were like, have you heard of so and so?
Right, right,
And
yeah.
you were one of those that was like, have you seen her? Oh my god. And you were like you were one of the few that when I'd heard of someone and then I saw them, I was like, whoa, they lives up to the hype.
Ah,
And
thanks.
I'm not. I swear, I'm not brown nosing. It's legit. And but it happened really fast. So that's kind of what I'm getting at. So you were doing really well. You were getting booked. You were even making television appearances fairly quick and things
Mhm,
like that.
for sure.
Was was the underlying issues, if you weren't so aware of them as you are now, was that sort of helping or hurting as you were kind of moving up in the industry fairly quick?
I don't think it affected it one way or the other.
No?
No. The more I think about it, the more, like, no, I think if anything, it probably took my mind off of it because I was
Yeah?
busy, busy, doing other things, right? Like, and I was excited and I was in my 20s and, people were paying attention to me and,
You were getting everything that you craved.
yay, you know,
Yeah.
so even though I know, in hindsight, looking back, that there's probably stuff going on then too. I was in my 20s.
Yeah, we're all stupid when we're in our
We're all
20s. It doesn't...
fucking stupid and half nuts in our 20s, aren't we? Like,
Oh, man.
like,
Yeah.
I look back on those years both with like nostalgia, and they were so great, and quite a few layers of embarrassment as well. Oh, what a dumbass, right? Yeah, oh, what a dumbass. But, oh, she's having fun. So,
Now you're starting to sound like an old lady. What a dumbass, but you're having fun. And...
oh, look at that little dumbass. Oh, dumbass is having
okay,
a good
dumbass, your hot dogs and macaroni is ready.
yeah, I think they were exactly what they were supposed to be. Like,
Were you surprised at how successful you are? You were so fast. You are
yes,
successful, but I mean back
very
then.
shocking.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Well,
exciting.
Yeah. Well, you got the interesting life. You got that,
got the interesting life. That's
right?
for sure.
But
Yeah.
he's for someone who grew up in Nova Scotia and then just hopped a bus and hopped another bus,
Yeah.
and for it to just kind of build that
I
fast.
was like, shit, this is easy.
Yeah. Well, because that's the thing, right? You hear some comics talk about how hard it was, and then other ones are talking about, I don't know, you're talking about you write some jokes, you get up on stage, they either work or they don't, which, and if they don't work, then you write better jokes, right?
It is hard work. Don't get me wrong.
Now you're backtracking.
It's very hard work.
Yeah.
But it's not the hardest, like, what can I say? Like, you're either made for that kind of business or you're not. And when you're in your 20s, I think we're all kind of made for that business. Because, we've got the energy and,
sure.
The excitement of it, right? My mom worked as a personal care worker in a nursing home. That's hard work. My dad worked mechanical maintenance. Like, that's hard work. Like, yes, it does take commitment and it does take, craft. It is a craft and there is a level of difficulty to it, absolutely. But there are harder things in this, harder ways to make a living in this world other than being able to create something and share it with people. You know what I mean? Like, without
100%.
Without taking away the real work that real people do.
Of course.
In the arts, not downplaying that at all. There are certainly jobs out there that are much harder.
Well, it's perspective, right? And I think artists it's important for artists to have perspective and realize, what you do, it's hard on an emotional level. We're talking about constantly putting yourself out there, your
and
rawness that is you.
And then you don't just get up, stretch, and go, okay, comedy god, smile on me and give me jokes, right? Like, there is work to it.
Well, it's so funny too.
Yeah.
Like I've always said too. Like I'm more in the acting world than the stand-up world now, and I firmly believe this. I can't stand listening to any actors complain to me how hard their job is at all, because I'm like, you have on set the easiest job on set. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care what your role is or how many lines you have to learn or how emotional it is. You have the
Yeah.
easiest job on set.
It is
Everyone
a
else,
craft. It absolutely
it's
is a
craft.
craft. You can't just
Absolutely.
walk in off the street and go, I'm going to be an
No,
actor
that's
today,
right. That's right.
right? Like, I mean, it takes, well, it's a continuing
Of course.
education thing. It's,
Of course.
it's not, you don't go to acting school for X amount of years and go, okay, now I know everything about acting.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
That's right.
like,
That's
it's,
right.
you're constantly learning. You're constantly making yourself better. If you're any good at what you do, you're constantly working on yourself to make,
Yeah.
better. You're taking on there is real work in trying to inhabit a character and really fill them out as a real human being, right?
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
not just a sketch character, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and there's work and decisions that you're making as an actor that the person watching you on the screen has no idea that you've done, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's not just lines that you're learning. You have to answer questions for yourself about
Who
why
they
that
are. Yeah.
person is, how
Yeah.
they
There's a whole
become who they
psychology.
are.
Yeah. There's a
Yeah,
whole psychology behind every
yeah,
single character, right?
exactly.
And that's I think that's what I was trying to say. It's not that I think acting is an easy job, but I just
no,
think that on set, you
it,
have so much downtime while other people are running around trying to get things done, carrying cables, moving heavy equipment, trying to get people fed and everything else, that
exactly.
I just don't have the patience for actors that are complaining about,
I
so
think
when are we going to be done? It's like,
I think in the art, it is a lot of work, but it's privileged work.
very much,
I
yeah.
think that's fair to
That's the
say
word.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that if you're on set going, how much longer do we got to be here? Then
Yeah.
maybe acting isn't
No.
your thing.
That's right.
Because, I mean, you can have a lot more job security and be
Mhm.
somewhere where you're like, how much longer do I got to be here? But at least you got job security,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If you're not excited to be there and like, joyful that you're there and could
Yeah.
be there all day and all night because it's fun, right? It's
Absolutely.
exciting.
Well,
If you're already counting the hours, well then, I mean,
and it's amazing.
you could get something with more job security and
Yeah,
feel that way
it
about
always,
it, right?
yeah, it always amazes. Like, it's not that every facet of the entertainment industry, whether you're talking about acting or stand up or writing or directing, anything like that, music, isn't without its frustrations. That's just a
Oh my
natural
God.
part of
Yeah.
life.
Like
But
any job is,
I,
any job is a job some
yeah,
days,
yeah.
right? Like, yeah.
But it always amazes me. It amazed me when I was doing stand up as well. How many comics would complain about, doing this gig or what? And I'm like, yeah, there's shitty gigs, and I'm like, geez, you're doing stand up. You're telling jokes for a living. Put it in
Exactly.
perspective and be, holy Jesus, people actually want to hear me. People are paying money to listen to the stupid things that come out of my head.
Exactly.
And
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 if that changes, then you need to question
why?
why.
Yeah,
Why has that changed,
that's
right? Like,
right.
yeah. And yeah, and I think it's fair to feel that way,
Sure.
but then question it, right? Like if you're not questioning it, then and just sort of fucking get it, fucking do this again. It's like, well, you know,
That's. I think I know who you're doing there.
yeah, you've been in a car with him.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. That was when he was pulled over. Yeah, that's right. You know, do you know, do you know how fast you were going, sir? Yeah. So when's the last time you were on stage before all of this?
Oh my god, let me think. Where's my calendar? Gee, April? Not a fucking day in April. I was supposed to be in Halifax, the Halifax Comedy Festival.
Yeah.
Right
Oh,
here.
yeah. Oh,
That
shit.
didn't happen. But I did clean the cat fountain on the 11th or the 17th. That did happen.
See, perspective, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, no. The cat fountain takes just as much precedence as the Halifax Comedy Festival. on the old calendar anyway. I believe I did. Oh, because I was getting ready for Halifax. My last show would have been sometime in early April.
Okay.
We have this adorable little comedy club. It's like it's a comedy club slash bar, I guess. Called Hell's Basement in Moncton.
Sounds adorable.
It's adorable. They call it Hell's Comedy Basement. It's underneath the Subway, like the Subway sandwich shop.
Okay.
Yeah, and you have to ring a doorbell. It's so cool. You have to ring a doorbell, and there's a password, and the doorman will answer the door. So it's like a speakeasy, and they advertise. They advertise like online, and they'll hide the password in one of the posters for the show. So you have to find the password hidden in the. This is why it's adorable.
Wow.
You have to find the password hidden in the poster for the show you want to go to, and then the doorman will answer, and you have to give the password to the doorman, and then you can go in. And it seats about, oh God, like 50 to 70 people tops.
Okay.
I think like it's crunched in there, but it's really cute. It's really nice. And I did a show or two there before the shutdown because I was getting ready for Halifax.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's
And
been.
I hope to, as soon as they can open up again, we're gonna do a show and get them making some cash so that they can hopefully stay open.
Yeah.
You know.
That's a big concern, right? Is when
It's a great venue and we're a very small city, and but a great little comedy community, and and Hell's Basement is pretty awesome.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so that would have been my last show, and it was actually March 13th. I was at school on that Friday because I go to university. Did you know that?
Yeah, I seen you post about that.
Yeah. So I was at Mount Allison, and I'm taking fine arts, so like the painting, and I was in sculpture class, and we were all getting text messages from the kids were getting text messages from their friends that were at NASTAG and places like that, and they were like, NASTAG shut down. And then somebody else was like, St. Thomas shut down. And we were still having our class, and we were still going. So we were like, oh, maybe, fingers crossed, we'll get to the end of the term. And when I got home that evening, there was an email saying that the university was shutting down.
Have they continued online or anything like that?
You can't. Yeah, they continued online, and they did some exams, I think, online too for the courses like English and political science and all that kind of stuff. But sculpture class, you can't sculpt online. So, and we were in the middle of welding at that point. So,
Oh,
so you
oh
can't
wow.
really bring you know, you can't really bring the flames home with you.
Yeah, that would be a very weird
You
Zoom
can't really
class. Just
weld in your living room. Uh, so
cat's on
we ended up
fire.
getting graded on a curve. We got sort of graded off of what we'd already done.
Already done. So it's done for the year then.
It's done for the year. Right now is spring term,
Okay.
and so I think the last I heard anyway, spring term was being done totally online. But here in New Brunswick now, like we're coming down off of full on lockdown.
Yep.
We're not Georgia by any stretch. Not like everything's open. But some things have loosened. Like my brother and his wife can come over here now because we can what they call bubble with
Mm,
another household. So
okay.
so my brother and his wife are my bubble buddies.
Yeah.
And my brother does not like that term. He's like, that sounds weird, bubble buddies. I'm like, all right, we're a quarantine, and he's okay with quarantine.
Okay.
So yeah, so I get some human interaction
Yeah,
now,
that's good. Yeah.
and we're some of our parks have opened up
Hmm.
again, and none of the stores have opened yet, but I think some of them are gonna open. Some of the retail stores might open this week with like where
Curbside.
you can go in with a mask, and I
Oh,
think
okay.
only so many people can go in. I'm not in a rush for that.
No.
I'm
Do you?
like,
Do,
I'm not gonna be lining up to go,
no.
you know, into the mall.
I can
Like,
tell by the face you're making.
yeah,
No.
no, no, no.
That's the face they need to put on the doors to keep people, you know.
No. Do you really need to go into Irving Barn? No. Turn around. Turn around. Yeah. So we got some freedoms, but like we've had no deaths. Yay so far.
Really? I didn't know that.
Nobody has died in New Brunswick, and we had 120 cases in all, and
Wow.
I think we only have 2 people sick now, and nobody's in the hospital.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
Wow.
so we've been really lucky.
Go
We keep joking.
quarantine.
We're like New Brunswick. It sucks so much. Even COVID didn't want to come. Like, and I don't know if you know, but people call us the drive-through province. Like people
No,
coming from Quebec and Ontario just drive through New Brunswick to get the vacations in Nova Scotia.
yeah.
And so we keep saying, COVID just drove through on its way to Nova Scotia. Didn't even stop for gas. But no, we've been really lucky. I think it's because our population is so small. And I have to say, even though I didn't vote for the government that's in right now, I have to say they took it seriously, and they took it seriously pretty quick.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Yeah.
impressed with everything they've done.
Yeah.
One of the best. I heard a reporter put it a couple of weeks ago or last month. I thought put it really succinctly. He said you got to give them a little bit of a break because they're trying to both build the plane and fly it at the same time. So there's
Yeah.
going to be, you got to give them a
I
little bit
wouldn't
of.
want to be trying to make the decisions right now.
No, no. Talk
Like,
about a hard job.
yeah,
Jeez.
like fuck, like
But are
yeah.
you so since it's been about a month and a half or so since you've been on a stage, month and a half, roughly?
60 days.
Yeah, 60
60
days.
days. 60 days exactly.
60 days,
Slightly
yeah.
longer since I've been on a stage, because I wasn't on a stage right on the 13th of March. I go by the day they shut school down, Because
Yeah.
that's when I was like, oh, fuck, this is real. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what I'm counting. I don't know officially when New Brunswick shut down. I believe it shut down, like, I believe all our dates are exactly the same as Ontario. Like, I
Right.
think, I think it
Right.
was all kind of happening all at the same time. So I go by March 13th. I don't know exactly when we, like, officially went into quarantine, but that was the day
Yeah,
they
I've
shut school down.
forgotten too.
That was the day they shut school down, and so that's when I was like, "Oh shit, this is
Yeah.
really happening." Yeah,
Yeah, here I think it was right around that March like I want to say 15th or something like that,
yeah. It
14th,
was mid March
something
when
like
it
that.
was happening. One thing would like school shut down, and the next day they were like, you can only be around 15 people. Now you can
Yeah.
only be around 10 people. No,
Yeah.
no people.
Yeah.
Right?
Now you can't be alone with yourself. No, you
Yeah,
can't.
yeah.
No.
And so I just sort of go by the 13th because that's when it got real for me anyway. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
same here. But you
yeah,
like you said earlier, you're an introvert. I'm an introvert as well. So
yeah.
has it really had an effect on you and your creativity and things, or
I
have you sort
don't.
of?
I think it's had a wonderful effect on my
Yeah,
creativity.
right. Me
Um,
too.
because I'm getting shit done.
Yeah.
There's nothing to so as far as and as far as my day-to-day life, I don't think it changed too much because I live in the woods, right? Like,
Mm. Yeah.
it's not exactly like there's tons of folks
Yeah.
going up and
Right.
down my road every day,
Yeah.
right? And so in the beginning, no, but I think after 60 days, even an introvert is like, fuck,
This is
like,
too much. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
all right. Some people would be all right.
Yeah.
Like I'm
Yeah.
super excited this week, because now one of the things that were lifted was we can still only bubble. Like I can only have my brother and his wife come in the house,
Okay.
right, and
Yeah.
be like less than six, you know,
Yeah.
6 feet apart.
Yeah.
But we can hang out with groups of up to 10 now outside as long as we're social distancing.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So what I've done is I've planned a tea party. My friend Mandy's coming down, and we're gonna
Oh.
have an outdoor tea party on Saturday. And so that way we can be, we can be distant, but
Yeah.
still hang out in the backyard and have a little tea and
A tea
sandwich
party.
stuff.
That's why you were making tea earlier. You're practicing.
I'm practicing
Yeah.
for Saturday.
That's
So,
awesome.
So yeah, so I mean, if anything, I hope this gives you some hope that, like, because that's where you're headed, right? Like there is,
Yeah.
we're starting to see a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel. Though they keep telling us, like, if our numbers go up, we will
Yeah.
go straight back into, like, quarantine again.
We keep hearing the same thing here. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, you can, start picking out your bubble buddy, and
God, I wish I was living near you so I could call you my bubble
you
buddy.
can be bubble buddies.
I would
We
love
should
to
be
have.
bubble buddies. Hey, bubble buddy. Hey,
Yeah.
bubble buddy.
I got a
It's a
pain in my
bubble.
bubble. That was such a ridiculous play on your name.
Jump in the bubble.
It feels like we're all gonna get in the Pope mobile. That's what it
Right?
feels like.
Yeah.
Get in the
Yeah.
bubble. You're
So,
safe in the bubble.
So yeah, so you guys, you have things to look forward to.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I'm not as nearly excited about the stores reopening as I am about the fact that my friend can come in my yard now. I haven't figured out if she needs to use the bathroom, what we're gonna do. I got there's trees, there's woods out there, man.
Yeah, you live in the woods, right?
Yeah,
Just
go ahead.
squat
Take a
and
walk
leave a
over
treat
to
for
the
the
woods.
bears.
There's some toilet paper, some hand sanitizer.
Yeah, that's
Don't
awesome.
touch my sandwiches now.
Yeah.
You touch it, you buy it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, you're not even going to give it to them. You're going to make them pay for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Money making.
That's going to
No,
be 250 bucks. You hit my sandwich.
I'm so sorry. I keep taking us so far away from your subject matter.
I have no subject matter,
But it
honestly.
is making me more creative. It is. It is.
Yeah.
You know, I've been drawing a lot more. I've been doing a lot more embroidery. Now that the weather's nice, I'm out gardening, and that's really part of my, my creative practice. Like,
Yeah.
even, like I'm writing less stand up now than what I have in the past because I'm doing less stand up.
Huh.
But I need to be doing all those things like drawing and painting and and gardening and all those kind of things, and then that usually brings me back to writing something. So yeah, it's definitely helped my writing practice quite a bit.
Is that right? Like just yeah, keeps everything. I'm the same way. I
Yeah,
can't do one creative thing. I find
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know. I've still haven't answered the question whether that's good or bad to just focus on one
I think it's
thing.
good. I think it's good. I think that, yeah, I think creative people are creative people, right? Like, well, I think first off, I think we're all creative people, and secondly, I think that yeah, it helps get the brain going. It puts the brain in that place where you start thinking, ever so slightly differently than
Hmm.
because with comedy and with anything, you kind of gotta look at all the things uh, that everybody sees, but see it at a slightly different angle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you create something around that. So I think that yeah, I think the more creative things you're doing, the more likely you are to get your brain into that place.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's great. And it sounds like well, that's the thing. I think this whole quarantining thing has worked wonders for all the truly creative people. And I say that because there's a lot of people, I'm sure you know this too, that say, "Oh, I want to do this. I want to write a book. I want to write a song. I want to do this." And then they just say that and they don't do it. And if they're
Well,
not
it's
doing it now,
hard.
it's
It's
not going to
hard when
happen.
you've got a gazillion things going on at once.
Yeah.
I mean, if this has done anything, it's slowed us down,
Yeah.
which is
That's what I mean. It
good.
showed you. Yeah. It
Yeah,
showed you
I
either you're
mean,
going to do it or you aren't.
it's funny that, I'm moving slower these days, but I seem to be getting more done, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
It's a weird time
there's less
vortex.
buzzing around looking busy, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think we do a lot of that. Like, oh, what am I doing now? Now I gotta go here. Now I gotta go there. Let's do
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, you're like, what the fuck did I do?
Yeah.
Did I get anything done?
Yeah.
Right? And now it's like, you're home and you're moving slower, but you're actually like completing tasks, right?
Yeah.
Like getting things done.
I think there's a component too where we've been told to stay home for so long.
Yeah,
It's almost like you hear that and you almost hear it almost changes into do nothing. Like you almost
right.
hear just do nothing. So for
Mhm.
me, it's silly when you know, when I exercise or I brush my teeth now, that counts as a thing. And I'm
That's
proud of
it.
myself for
I
doing
did
that.
something. Yeah.
Yeah. You
Oh yeah,
know?
no, I love I'm hanging up my laundry and it's all underwear, 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 the outfit I wore that week. I'm changing my underwear, but I'll wear the same outfit all week, right?
Everything else. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's underwear, underwear, like socks, 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 underwear, 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 pair of pants, shirt.
Yeah. That's all you need.
That's
That's
all
all
you
you
need.
need.
That's all you need. Who am I changing for? Does
Right?
it smell? It doesn't smell. Well, especially where I've been doing gardening stuff. It's like, well, I'm not taking out a fresh outfit so that I can be digging in the dirt and moving patio stones,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
no, I'm gonna wear the same dirty pants I had on yesterday doing the
Yeah.
same thing, right?
I,
I'll put on clean pants when I go somewhere.
Here's how lazy I've become, and I'm not kidding. This was a legitimate issue because I restarted this podcast, right? And because it's video as well as audio now, I'm going to release a version of each, right? So as soon as I realized that, this just happened to me yesterday. I was thinking about it. I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to. I can't wear the same thing every time. Then it's like it legitimately started stressing me out. I gotta pick out a different outfit every time so people don't see me the same.
Another shirt, because that's all they see.
Yeah.
You can have the same pants on every day.
Yeah, that's right. Or no pants.
You only have to change your shirt.
Yeah. Yeah, and that stressed me out because I got to go into my drawer now and find a shirt. I've become so lazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah. So it's good, but it sounds like you're doing. It sounds like you're doing great.
I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
Doing all right.
Yeah, you got.
You
got your bubble buddies now.
Good. You're all right.
Honestly, it's. I hesitate to say this because I know there's a lot of people suffering with this, but I feel better than ever. I mean, I'm here like we were just talking. I'm talking to you. I'm doing creative stuff. I've got my dog Shadow, and I mean, there's so few expectations on me right now. It's great.
There's some things that I don't know if I want to go back to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I think I'm gonna be picky about what things I go back to doing. I
think a lot of us picky about who you spend your time with. I think picky about what you do, and I think everything.
Yeah.
So in a way, this has been almost like the juice cleanse of life, in a way.
Well, I heard somebody refer to it as the great pause.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a great term for it, the great pause, where everything just kind of, let's just stop for a minute. And, not to downplay that, this has been serious, very, very serious. But for those of us, knock on wood, that have been lucky enough that it hasn't affected us, really seriously, it's a time to really kind of go, okay, well, what do I want to bring back? What parts, now that I've had a chance to really stop, now I can sort of, bring things back one thing at a time, and just the stuff that works for me. Like, I have zero interest in going into a shopping mall at all.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And I realized that I don't need to be going into town to buy shit nearly as often as I had been. Right? You can just go pick up some groceries and be fine for a very long time. And I had way more shit around the house than what when you're forced to make do. Right? You're like, oh, well, I didn't know I had this.
Yeah.
And
tinfoil.
I don't need to go in town. When you live in the country, you have to go in town.
Right.
I don't need to be leaving the house to go shopping all the time.
No. No, I was going to the grocery store every 2 days, and
and
it was like, no, just
you can, you can make do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, this is awesome. I'm so glad we got to talk. Did we miss anything? I don't
think so. And now I need to pee, so that's probably a good time to start wrapping it up.
Your bubble is full, and you need
my bubble's full. Like I said, I drink a lot of water, Will.
I timed it with the tea.
And the tea is coming in now.
It's been about 40 minutes since you got that tea, I think, or 45. I'll let you go. Then I'll let you go urinate.
All right, thank you.
It's so good to see you. And maybe we could, if you feel like it, we could just, like, in a non-podcast scenario, we'll just have a nice Zoom chat.
Absolutely.
I'd love to.
I love this. Since I moved here, it's FaceTime and all that kind of stuff with people all the time. So,
well, I mean, it's just been so long. I mean, I remember we hung out and saw the movie Mean Girls, and that's the last time we hung out. Do you remember that?
Oh, yes.
We went to the theater, you and me, and
yeah. Trevor, yeah.
Was it Trevor? Yeah, and
he's producing a whole bunch of reality shows now.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, you should chat him up sometime.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be great. All
Yeah.
right, I'll do that for sure. Well, I mean, now that I've started this up again, I'm like, I want to talk to everybody, see how
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
doing,
yeah.
right? But yeah, we'll keep in touch, and thank you so much for making the time.
No problem. Thanks for chatting with me.
Ah, thank you. All right, we'll be in touch, and I'll send you the link for this.
Sweet.
All
All
right,
right.
talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye bye. Okay, that was my chat with Nikki Payne. Thanks so much for listening, and thanks so much, Nikki, for being my first guest back. Couldn't have been better, and I love you. And yeah, you know how I feel about you. Thanks for listening, and don't forget that if you're watching this right now, there's an audio version, which you probably don't need to listen to because there's literally nothing else in that you didn't hear here. However, if you're listening to this and not watching it, there is about 10 minutes that I cut out that is definitely worth watching because, more Nikki. That's just a remedy for everything, right? So check it out if you want. That's at doingitpod.ca on the website. Both the links are there for that. You can also check out Doing It Pod on Twitter, just at Doing It Pod, and also on Instagram. And you can also email me if you have any thoughts about the show or anything in general, especially if it's to do with the arts or any of the nonsense that I spew out here. You can email me at doingitpod@gmail.com. And yeah, so other than that, I hope you're all staying safe. I hope you're all finding ways to be creative and keeping yourself entertained as well. And I think more than ever now, I know I feel this. Just remember, life doesn't happen to you. Life happens through you. Stay safe, everyone, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks so much.